used to be, and all companies that are under big regulation and under regulatory. Then I will tell you one story that we are trying to do. We are trying to be more agile, which is of course very fancy, and everyone are talking about it, so all of us would like to be more agile. This is our second trial in UniCredit. First, it was 2 years ago in Zagrebačka Bank, so some of you should know this. But this time we are having some different approach. Some things about my background, how I ended up in this digital world and in banking industry as an engineer of biology. I started to volunteer in a hippo bank. Maybe you remember the famous hippopotamus that was used by this bank for marketing purposes. So that was the only connection between biology and the bank where I started my career. But in that bank, I was in touch with the projects, and that was, I would say, love at first sight. So I really fell in love with projects, and that's the reason why I spent there for such a long period of time. First of all, I was working as a team member, then later on I got my own projects. I was the project manager, later program manager, like it used to go. Then I ended up in Aliko Bank as the group program manager. But in that time I was thinking, okay, I want something more. This is a small bank. I spent there, I don't want to say how many years. And then I said, okay, maybe Zaba would be something good for me. One great system, the biggest bank with a good reputation, etc. And I came there as a project manager, but really after a few months, I understood that Zaba is great, but not for me. So it was a problem of me, not of Zaba. System was too big for me, too slow. I was working in this funny bank, Aliko, which I respect a lot, where we had a lot of ups and downs, you know, many stories about politicians engaged in Hippo Bank in that time. So really, we used to work in agile way, but I mean fast way. We responded to the changes very fast. We also had so many different owners, etc. And in Zaba it was completely different. But UniCredit Group as such has got really a great opportunity that they can provide you a chance to move in the bank, which was not the case in Aliko, or you can go outside the country, so you can have some international experience. I got the opportunity to move to Vienna, where I spent 2 years working as a group program manager, and then decided to move complete CEE region to headquarters to Milan. And then after 2 years, I again moved there with complete my family, and thanks to them and thanks to my great husband who supported me in this crazy idea. Luckily, he is fluent in Italian and in tech industry, so he found the job there. And my 3 daughters who had a will to change and to adopt new times. Something about UniCredit, just to get some idea about the size of the company. This is a pan-European bank with ambition to become a commercial bank for Europe's future. Currently, we are having 15 million of clients. We are acting in 4 regions: Italy, Germany, South, Central and Eastern Europe. We are having 2 product factories, which are serving all regions. And the most important thing is that we are having 81K employees there. So really, we are talking about a big number of employees. What happened 2 years ago? We got new management, our new CEO, Andrea Borcel, with a great experience in finance industry. decided to join to UniCredit. And after a small period of time, he, of course, had to do a big change. So he had a big challenge in front of him to move this small system, like I said in the introduction, like Zaba. UniCredit is more slower than Zaba. Everything is too bureaucratic, especially in Italy. Systems were slow, response time slow, interaction between colleagues are really not on a good level. So he had to do all these changes. Also, thanks to pandemics, like in other industries, we had to change completely. So we have to be faster on market, we have to respond to our clients, and we have to serve their needs in a better way. So he decided to populate this as an initiative to unlock our potential. Which kind of potential? Of course, of our systems and everything that we are having, but first of all, to unlock the potential of our people. So from these 81,000 people, for sure we are having great people who are somewhere in silos, maybe a lot of them really do not have any visibility. So we started with this journey. Also, like many presenters before said, ECG principles are also in place, so we gave some commitments to them. So this is something that is driving us. About the digital strategy, how this started and how all this transition started. Andrea decided, of course, like any other manager, completely change management. So first of all, he changed management in digital. So now we are having completely digital new management coming from outside, led by Jingle Pan. So we are having Chinese lady, strong lady, who is driving our digital towards simplification. We are having product simplicity, and also we want to have clear and transparent communication, which was not in place. Also, what was very important is that we bank for a future, so digital bank for a future. It's not enough just to change digital strategy. We need to change also digital culture, but first of all, we need to change our internal culture. So we are having one great initiative of changing culture within the organization. Now I will tell you something about this. How culture transformation started. First of all, we are having, like probably a lot of other companies, we are measuring NPS, so satisfaction of our employees every year. Every year we are fulfilling some sheets, some files. Are you satisfied with the branding? Are you satisfied with the working environment? Are you satisfied with the cooperation with your clients or with your colleagues, etc.? But after that, nothing. So we just fulfill it and wait for next year. But this time, something really changed dramatically. Why? Because culture transformation is under sponsorship of our CEO. So that's the first time in UniCredit that something happened in this way. I mean, in a soft way, so meaning directly touching people. So we are doing really a big cultural transformation. First of all, our culture team, which is acting within our culture unit, defined 3 values, which we would like to have in place every time when we are acting together between colleagues or towards our clients. Our 3 values are integrity, ownership, and caring. We all know that companies who are having a strong corporate culture are not so vulnerable. So that's the reason why we are really doing and putting a lot of effort to change our culture and have these all 3 values in place. For integrity, I would say that this is something that is obvious. So we all have to do the right things And we used to say, even when no one is watching. For ownership, this is something very important because in the past, you know what was approached? It's not mine, it's not mine. So, oh, the other department is doing this. So nobody didn't want to take an ownership. Now we are moving towards that. So we are encouraging our people to take an ownership and say, okay, I am responsible. I will do this. So this is something that we would like to have. Also, we are working on speak-up culture, because also in the past that was not the case. And finally, caring. This is something that I like a lot. So this is something that is more or less connected to some personality, but also this is something that we all can work on it. So this is something that will help us to cooperate better, to think about each other, and all these three values, I hope, will help us to become better version of ourselves. How this journey of cultural transformation started after this NPS, after defining values, we had a task to implement this, so to spread the word. So we had a task to come to the people. So these 80,000 people should be somehow attracted to act in that way. So this transition started with 12 culture champions selected from global functions, and also 12 from the banks, so representatives from the banks. Global functions, in that I mean, for example, legal, then compliance, then digital information. I'm so happy, and I must tell that I'm a representative of digital and information in this cultural transformation journey. And we are all having our sponsors. Our sponsors are coming from general executive committees, so they're first liners of our CEO, and they are supporting us in this journey. We started last year, and up to now we implemented some ideas, some initiatives, more in local banks, I must say this, because in local banks it's maybe looks like my excuse, but no, it's not. In local banks, culture sponsors are CEOs. So again, first manager, first top manager in the banks, and then of course it's easier maybe to do something. While global functions, for example, in digital, we are having 7,000 employees everywhere in each bank, so it's not that easy, and also like other, it's for legal, etc. For digital culture transformation, like we did culture transformation, we understood that we also have to do something with our digital culture, meaning that we want to move our colleagues to communicate more, to communicate freely. That's why we started with some communities of practice. We are having really a great experience of it in Agile community of practice, DevOps, design thinking, etc. Where people are really sharing their knowledge, they're sharing their experiences, they're sharing their minds, sometimes they're asking for help, and they're really actively working. Then we are having some for learning and development on platforms, University Digital, and also we are having some live events like groundwork sessions, like hackathons, some forums and pitches. For digital transformation, here you can see our pillars. We used to say that from using digital, we will live digital, and I will just focus on this central part for the new way of working. Other things are not a part of this presentation. What are our drivers to a change? So we analyze the situation, our past way of working, and our desired way of working, and where we are now. In the past, all our effort was put in the projects. So we were focused on projects, while in the future we would like to be focused on products. Then, in the project, you are always catching the deadlines, but sometimes without results. Now we would like to be focused on deliverables. So please deliver something, not just catch the deadline. Then for the budget. Budget was in the project, of course, approved by the project phases. Now we also want that it's approved, so you can get the budget if you delivered something, so based on results. And then we had the long response time, now we would like to have a short response time. But these are the wishes, and currently we are in the middle, so we are in some hybrid way of working. Why? We know what we want to do, so our management also, we had the opportunity that in our management last October, joined Bart Schlachman, who was also CEO in ING Bank. So he's fully agile guy, focused on agile, so he worked in this company and implemented change there. So they switched to agile from one day to another, but that was much easier because at least the bank was smaller. In our case, in our big system, it is not possible. So we analyze the big bang approach, and also we analyze step-by-step approach. For the big bang approach, we saw that we are having so many waterfall projects. We are having also organization structure that cannot be easily changed. So if you want to do agile, you have to destroy everything, and we are having so many verticals. It's not possible to do it from day one till day two. Then for the mindset change, this really, we felt on our skin that it's really not easy. Why? In our system, we are having people who are spending 20, 25 years there, who are developers, who have their experience, and they want to continue in that way. And this would really not be an easy job. Then, for this change, you need to have a trained staff. So how we can train so many people to have tomorrow so many Scrum Masters, Product Owners, etc., to be fully aware of everything and fully ready for start to work. So that was also not possible. And the only thing that we are having Jira in place, but also not massively used. And as you know, if you are having a tool, this is not a guarantee that you will be agile. So you can have a tool, but you are not agile. There are so many other principles and other things related to the framework. Then we analyzed step-by-step approach, and we saw, okay, for the step-by-step approach, it would be something that could help us. So we decided to go slowly and really to help people to understand what we want to do, to help people to adapt to this change, and also to help them to see values of the change by seeing the results. Then for the training of the staff, we decided to do it internally. So 5 of us from my organizational unit, Digital Culture and Agile, we are training people to use Jira, but I will come to that. So the only point we are having is Jira, nothing else. And also, like I said before, as we started with Agile a few years ago in Zaba and in Bulgaria as some kind of trial project and it failed, we had bad marketing. So what we decided? We decided to serve our employees in a best possible way. So we are really babysitting them until they get familiar with the Agile, with the principles, and also with the tool. So what we had for this big change, the only thing that we had, so the only tangible thing that we had was managerial decision. Managerial decision from December was, we want to have all projects in Jira, waterfall and Agile projects. So all should be in Jira. Okay, budget approval will be done based on Jira. So again, everything should be there. And monitoring will be done on a quarterly basis like it was before. So we got this decision and do what you can. And what we did. First of all, we defined a model, popular name model, but what is it? This is just some kind of our agreements, how we would like to set up the project in Jira, how we would like to see the content in Jira. Because you know it's really not easy if you're having people who are having big projects, regulatory-based projects, which are always following the same path. So this should be waterfall. And then you said, okay, now you have to put everything in Jira. First question was, okay, what now? Do we need to switch to agile way of working? Of course not. But we want to find some solution that can cover needs, of course, for our managers, of course, for our project managers, and also people who are working in agile. There are few projects working in Scrum. Then we decided to provide the basic Jira training and advanced training, and then the biggest thing is to provide them support. So now this value of caring is coming to place. We wanted to give them full support. So we created Jira manuals. We created video tutorials, so they can literally open the video and do what they need. Then we provided the Teams channel, where we are having 1,000 active employees who are collaborating there, who are asking for a question, for help, etc. We are using Confluence together with Jira, which is package of Atlassian software, so we are putting everything there. We are having FAQ questions in Confluence also, and the only thing that we are doing is that we are always transparent, that we always inspect what we are doing, and based on the feedback from our employees, we are changing something. So really constantly we are changing. From one education to another, from model was changed a few times. So this is a journey. That's the reason why I'm telling this is a journey. And still, we are not having clear results, but we are seeing big progress, and we are satisfied about it. Really, because you know, when you have people on training who are telling you, "Oh, Jira, I don't have Jira. Why I have to do it?" And then after some time, you see the same person on the wall and say, "Oh, now I like Jira. I see all advantages from it." So really, it's something that makes you happy with the job that you're doing. And this is a proof of concept. About the model, so we just defined how to put the content in Jira. One thing that the people who are working in Agile will for sure tell me, but this is not true, is definition of epics. I will not go into details, but you know that epic is one big portion of work that should be done and delivered. So what we decided that epics should be defined for waterfall and for agile projects in a way that it's based on deliverables, not on the project phases, and also they should have target start and target end date. And this is something that people from agile couldn't swallow, and I can understand them, because you always teach them you have to be agile, you have to plan just for a sprint, and then you ask them now define target start and target end date. But this is something that we define for managerial reporting, because each quarter we are having to provide the reports to them, and then epics are defined with the target start and target end date, which is touching 1 quarter. So this is some kind of compromise. Reporting potential from Jira, we are using roadmaps and we are using dashboards. So roadmaps are part of the Jira that can be also used for the waterfall project, because you are going to look to a future, while dashboards are showing what happened in the past. And we define some standards, how templates should look like, and I will show you. So yes, if you ask me, can Jira help in this transition? Yes. Why? Because people are getting familiar with Jira, and now also people who are working in waterfall tend to switch to Agile. They really see the benefits of the change. Just to see one template that we created. So this is a template of managerial reporting, which is created each month, and we are storing it automatically in Confluence. So we created a template. We babysit our project managers just to have their better feeling about this immediate and big change. And template in Jira could be created very easy, really. So you can see here, as usually, based on the filters, which are also used for the boards or for some dashboards. So here you can see that really with a few clicks you can create a filter, which is then applicable to all your projects that you are doing. So that's the reason why we created a template for a filter, template for a dashboard, and everything is really ready for people to use it. Just copy paste and apply to their project. Of course, they have to put these principles related to a model, so content creation, etc. And now let's switch to another. So for the dashboard, also the same. So with really few clicks, you can get the report like I showed you before. And that's really nice way how a report could be taken out from Jira automatically. And that is something that people who are working in Waterfall really like a lot, because they do not need to produce PowerPoint presentation. We want to avoid it. Then they do not need to use other tools because everything is in Jira. And also for recording purposes, people who need to see content can enter and see everything there. And what about our progress? Now we are having 800 people who passed the training, basic training on Jira, then ongoing advanced training. We did 22 groups currently. We created 300 slides of manuals, 17 videos, and now more than 1,000 people who are using our Teams channel. In the team, just 5 of us. And if you ask me, do I believe in this change and can we do it? Yes, I really believe, because we put a lot of effort and now we are seeing really results. So projects are there, people are familiar with the Jira. Also this bad reputation is somewhere inside. And like we used to say in Credit, yes, we will win the right way together. Thank you.
Did you pick up when she changed the tone of voice? It's gonna win in the end. You have a question? Okay, shall we take 2 or 3 questions for Mariana?
Hi, great presentation, thank you. So there is a lot of skepticism which comes from not understanding what Agile is, especially in Croatia, not so much in US or Western Europe. So Agile is not Jira and Scrum and having a retrospective, right? So I'm interested to hear from you, because with Reddit, going in the Agile way is great marketing for Agile. I would like to hear what is actually the motive for the CEO or whoever is sponsored from the top management side in UniCredit. What is the motive to promote, to actually have strategic decision to go that way for the Agile, for the top-down Agile?
This time happened first time, so this decision. Why? Because we are getting people coming from outside. So our top managers are coming from outside, not traditionally from UniCredit 20, 25 years like before. So we got Bart, like I said, who was in ING Bank, completely Agile Bank. So he had a vision, and he's COO of the group. Then we have Jingle Pang, who is also top in that, so she's also familiar with the Agile way of working, and also we have this on the desk to do this. And also Andrea Orcella, our CEO, who's really familiar with all this. And a few days ago we got the information, you know, Andrea would like to go to Jira and see what's inside. So this is something that really never ever happened. When we tried with this in Zaba a few years ago, it was, I would say, bad time, because this was something organized by management of CE region, while in headquarters they didn't care about it. So for Italy, for Germany, it was really mission impossible. Now Italy is the first one that is implementing it. So we are now in different position, I would say. But later I will tell you in the panel discussion a lot of things that we are faced with. So don't think that everything is pink. Yesterday I was in pink, today not. So, so really it's not. We are having a lot of obstacles.
Just to hear the high-level strategic business expectation, what is expected to achieve by becoming agile?
So we want to have really productized way of working. So we are currently also organized our teams according to our products. And what we would like to have, complete TCO related to a product, which is under responsibility of product owner. So we are having some teams that are perfectly working in Agile, really, they are by the book. While we are having teams that started, but they struggled and they said, oh, we would like to do something different, okay, do it. So we said, okay, you can do it, because otherwise it will be a disaster. So what we want to have, we really want to have just, like we said, factories which are taking care about the products and complete TCO within that. We want to give them a budget. With this, you cannot do Agile at all, you know this also better than me. So you cannot be Agile organization if budget is somewhere else, if you are not allowed to spend it how you like to, etc. So this is our vision and goal. But here,
Question number 2.
Yeah, I witnessed with the company I work for also that at a certain point we decided to go digital / also Agile for the sake of it. So the question is partially related to the previous one, but I guess that let's put it this way. When you decided that you need to go digital and more Agile, was it so that you had customer / client survey that you found really the pain points that you wanted to correct, to act upon? So was it that you wanted to improve certain areas, and therefore you recognize that by implementing Agile / methodology, there was your chance to actually act on it. So you had clear drive to improve something for your customers. Or was it like more, okay, we need to go Agile and came from the top of the organization?
no, for sure, client response, but you know, always it's and everywhere. Clients are always complaining, they would like to have something different, that's obvious. But here we wanted also to reduce costs, and also what we are having the big digital, so we are having factories, and we want to give a possibility that someone who is coding, who is doing the product, is responsible also for the maintenance of the product. Because this was also one bottleneck in our organization. You know, we are finishing the project, more or less successful. Then after that, where is the product? We don't know. Who will take the care about maintenance? We don't know. It's not us, it's not there. So we want to have complete package within one responsibility. That is ownership.
Okay. Thank you very much. Big applause. From Mariana is very convenient. You just hit the drum running. Just go ahead.
Hello everyone. After this great presentation about Agile, okay, let's start again. Hello everyone. After this great presentation about Agile in the big enterprise, I will tell you something about Scrum in big enterprise from my personal experience as a product owner. I will start with a short introduction of myself and my previous experience and last working experience in the last 2 years. My name is Dino. I'm product owner in Global Logic for the last 2 years. Global Logic is a global service company which provides software development services for the all worldwide mainly big companies. So in the last 2 years, we cooperate with one US client on developing on their software. This company is 20 years old, so it's very big and old in some ways. But they decided 2 years ago to switch to Scrum, even to change Jira, for example, to Azure DevOps. So during this process, we all of us was very actively involved in all this process of transformation to implement Scrum in this company. And during this period, we learned a lot. So today, my colleague Scrum Master in my team and I, we organize the trainings for the young colleagues to teach them about Agile mindset and the Scrum framework, just to help them and to support them to achieve or to earn this certification of Scrum from Scrum Organization, either Scrum Org or the Scrum Alliance. And what is important to understand my actual presentation is that I start my career as a software developer, and then after that I recognize this missing link between me as a software developer and the end user. And then I decided to go one step up to be closer to end users, to understand real needs of the users, because in that time I just get some requirements from my manager, and I observe during the user meetings that users talk something else and they want something else, and I hear it too late actually when my product is on the market and released already, and it was too late to change anything, and I was a little bit disappointed. So I found myself very comfortable in the role of Scrum Master, product owner, because product owner is, from my point of view, a link between product management and developers and end users. I'm something in between. So today's presentation I split into two parts. First part is the theoretical part, where I will just show some parts of the theory, because maybe this theory you know better than me, just to present which part of this theory I use in my daily work, how I implement it, how I use to help me. And the second part, I will present you our experience in the working with our US client regarding product planning and product tracking projects. So let's start with the definition of the product. In the latest version of Scrum Guide, in previous version of Scrum Guide, product wasn't defined at all. So it is the first time in Scrum Guide that the product is defined as a vehicle to deliver value. I would like to mention two words from this definition of product: value and vehicle. So I, the product owner, always have on the first place in my focus value, whether that means for the end user, for the customers. And the vehicle is, let's say, our product. Vehicle can have, we can envision like a car that you want to go from point A to point B. It is value, you want to be point B in some amount of time, of course. And the vehicle can be cheaper vehicle or more expensive vehicle, whatever, but you take care about vehicle in second place. And I, as a product owner, take care about fuel consumption of the vehicle, because my main, let's say, role or duty is just to find balance between value and the cost. So on the second definition of the product, which defined a long time ago Professor Levitt, he told that people don't want to buy a drill, they want to buy a hole. They want to buy value, they will pay for the value, not for your product, for your vehicle. Okay, vehicle is important, of course, because it provides some experience, but at the end of the day, they need a value. So this is, let's say, two main definition of the product from myself that I use always in my work, just to be more focused on the value than on the, let's say, software which developers develop, and just try to explain them that not to develop perfect software, perfect product, because done is better than perfect, of course, as we know. Then the second thing that is very important in my work, it is golden cycle from Simon Sinek. His book, Start With Why, is very important for my understanding of the let's say, philosophy of the product. And today and yesterday we talked about this why, how, and what. In my case, I can say that when we start to use this model in communication toward management, that helps us a lot to be more clear in our communication. Communication is very important, of course, you mentioned several times during this conference, and I agree with that, because when we start to use this why and what, we define very clearly to the management, product managers, what we do at the moment, what we plan to do in the next quarter. It was very important when I prepared planning for the quarter, because we deliver on the quarter basis. And what they will expect at the end of quarter then from us as a Scrum team. And of course, we add additionally at the end of this list when, because for them it's very important to know when it will be ready for the release. So because it's a big company, they have to prepare some materials to communicate later for in front of end users. So when is, let's say, only thing that we add in this list. And how is it important to communicate to the technical people, which are in management too, because they want to take care about potential technical debts and to be able in the future to be more scalable. Always we have to take care about scalability, and how is in this communication is very clearly defined there what we plan to do in which way from the technical point of view, from the technical from the development point of view. Because in my last 2 years, I see that when we want to migrate their product from the on-premise server to the cloud, there were a lot of technical debts, of course, and technical debts is something that are not considered, I think, at the beginning, because it's not important. When at the start, you have MVP, but later, when you have a legacy software product, it is very important to have as less as possible technical debts. So technical debts is here maybe this house, so just to avoid this in the future. The third thing, which is very important from my point of view, is kind of model, where the relationship between three types of features and customer satisfaction is shown. Basic features are must-have, of course. Your customers expect them, they are okay with them, they are not more satisfied if they are found in your product because they must be there. If they are missed this anyway, they are not satisfied anymore, and they have maybe left your product and not be your customer anymore. So let's say about basics, we don't need to talk to negotiate anything. They must be there. There are the two groups of features: performance and excitement or delighters. Performance means that your product is, let's say, your car, your vehicle is more comfortable, faster, consume less fuel. In technical words, from my point of view, it means there is no lot of technical debts. You can be scalable in any moment. You can have a very fast, very real product that can expect bright future. Excitements are features that are already covered, so just to tell from my point of view, it is not so important, of course. And sometimes I try to negotiate with the client, which want to have excitement features always, because they are excitement. And I just want to make trade-off between them and the performance. Never, of course, the basics and performance. Okay, if you want to have these features in the next delivery, you can expect, let's say, less performance in your product. So if you are talking about some MVP, from my point of view, I like to always include a little, let's say, excitement features there, just to show them, okay, we can have this, and they are always more satisfied. But let's say in the first version, I think it's not possible to have all basic features, of course, and you will have only basic features and a lot of technical depth. And performance features are very important, and I always try to have in the first version as much as possible performance features. It is my, let's say, experience. I think it works, and let's say in the second version you can include all missing basic features, and then to improve your product further. But very important at the beginning to convince, let's say, management, CEO that this product is very nice, has a very bright future. And delighters are very important there, of course, in that stage. Okay, so after the product, I would like to say a few words about product owner as a role, my role. First, what is described in the Scrum guide. Product owner is accountable for maximizing the value of the product. It is, from my point of view, the main definition of product owner, and this is, let's say, his or her main task, just to find the balance between value and the cost. After that, of course, product owner must take care and manage product backlog. He's owner of product backlog at the end to keep it healthy, good shape, let's say visible, transparent for the whole organization. Everybody can go in product backlog and see what is there inside to ask questions. Everything must be clear. Your plans for the next sprints or even quarters, if it's possible, of course. And what is very important from my point of view is that the entire organization must respect the decisions of product owners. It is very important because in practice I know it's not like that. In our case it was that everybody respect my decisions, and the only important thing is that I have answers on all their questions. If you have answers, it means you know what you're doing. So just ask me, I know what I'm doing. That's only what I ask from them. And after that, after 2 years, I can say it is very important to have this trust in both directions. And after that, I have to trust in my developers. When I transform this task to them, I have to trust them that they will do it in the proper way. And product owner must be one person, which is owner of one product backlog, which belongs to one product. So this is from the Scrum guide. And from some definition of maturity levels of product owners, there are five, let's say, major layers, let's say. So Scribe is the first one. Most probably some product owners is just Scribe of the user stories. It's okay, but it's not according to the Scrum, because product owner according to Scrum must have authority. Then with proxy, it starts to be somebody who has authority. And after that, let's say sponsor and mini CEO is the last level, which in our case is not possible because we are a service company, so we cannot have budget, we cannot have some final decisions. So for us, it's, let's say, business objective is maximum layer that we can achieve. After 2 years, I really have good decisions. I can advise clients what to do in the next weeks or months to improve their product, because I'm quite familiar. At the beginning, I was just a proxy, of course, just listen to them and try to be effective as possible. And there are some misunderstanding of product owner characteristics of stances that it is sometimes only story writer. In other case, it is a manager for everything, for organizing meetings and everything, to do everything from one person. It is wrong too. What is good, let's say, what is a prefer? And here 6, let's say, preferred stances of product owner. I would like to mention 2 of them. First is customer representative, which is very important. Then you can translate communication of customer, of management, board to the developers. Just they can understand the vision, let's say, what is asked from them in the future, what we will do with this product. And the second is decision maker. At the end, there is a lot of, let's say, ideas and everything, and some issues. And in the end, you have to make a decision on your own, because according to Scrum, let's say, so product owner is main charge for the product backlog and for deliveries. And from my experience, I can say sometimes it's very important that I can make calm to the managers that everything will be fine. Okay, just give me this issue, I will fix it by myself. Fortunately, I'm a developer, so I recognize what is, let's say, must be, let's say, fixed. So that's why I think it's good to have this technical background. As a product owner, is not required, of course, but it's good to have this calm in some moments, that you can know to recognize what must be done and how to solve this issue. And according to this picture, maybe you know better than me, product management vacuum. It's, let's say, vision, value, and validation. It is always related to transparency, inspect, and adaptation. What can, let's say, fill this vacuum in reality? It is, from my point of view, Scrum team, including product owner and Scrum master. In our case, we have both in the 2 persons, not in 1 person. Sometimes product owner and Scrum master can be 1 person. It is not against the Scrum Scrum framework, but it is very important to transfer this business strategy and decisions vision to the team. At the end, for them, for developers to make clear picture about what is asked from them. And of course, in the Scrum, it is the 3 pillars of the Scrum: transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Always we talk about these 3 pillars. Okay, in our case, when we are talking about product planning, we start with preparing planning for the quarter with a SMART goal. SMART goal is something similar to 3 why, what, and how. And you have here, you see a when, time bound, which is always, let's say, something at the end of the quarter, what will be delivered to the client, the customer, that what they can expect in the end of the quarter. It is very important to have clear and always to put in each report, after each sprint, this SMART goal is there to keep focus on that. It is very important to keep focus of all stakeholders, not only developers, and even of the clients and management board too. And during our, let's say, work, I can split our backlog items in 2 parts. First part is related to communication with management, where I prepare plans for the quarter in terms of goal, where SMART goal is described and put always on the top. After that, we have epic, which can be for several quarters, something which is big. And then features are something that it will be delivered for sure in this quarter. Of course, if you miss your SMART goal in this quarter, you can shift your epic, your features in the next quarter, but it is general rule to have epics features delivered in this quarter, and management always ask me when this feature will be delivered, in which sprint, just roughly tell us, just to have a rough estimation of delivery. After that, second part of product backlog items are user story, task, bugs. I use these items to communicate with developers, just in general, let's say, under the Scrum team. All these things, user stories must be completed in 1 sprint. If not, you have to split it. That's what we golden rule about user stories. And if you are talking about roadmap, I always have, let's say, from management, get some general roadmap of the epics, let's say so, and then I have freedom to arrange according to the capacity of my team at that moment, so I can change even some features, and then I have to answer them why I do it, because maybe I need some developers at the moment, we have to find new one, at that moment we can't work on this epic, on this feature, because it is too complicated for us, we will just change to do something else, and that's all. So this is way how I can recreate product roadmap, which is defined by the product manager. And when we are talking about prioritization, I make prioritization of features. Only, of course, this method, weighted, shorted job first, is one of methods. We can do something else. This is very useful for me because it includes some risks, something that I can calculate very easily. And at the end, I mean, Azure devs have this option that you can include in your product backlog items to show these numbers that everybody can see why you do prioritization in this way, why you do another way. And just to conclude this regarding prioritization, I think that if everything is important, then nothing is, of course. You have to make prioritization, and you must have answer about why you prioritization on this way. And regarding planning this Scrum, I would like to share with you very interesting and I think important experience from in our case. In, let's say, traditional way, you have management that they just put down some requirements to the developers, and they will do some time, I don't know how many weeks, maybe months or something, and just return back to the management, and then you have some increments in your product. In Scrum enables, let's say, iterative process, of course, that we know, and not only that you have each sprint, we have 2 weeks sprints. that you have to report to your other key stakeholders what you do. But in our case, when we have this preparation for the whole quarter, and then I ask my developers how many times you need for this task, that they prepare everything for us, architecture, everything was perfectly prepared. They told me, okay, maybe 2 months. I said, okay. I have two choices to say, okay. Actually, they told me 1 month, but usually when my developers told me 2, I all immediately recalculate it to 3 and say to management 4. Usually it again can't be 5, but okay, 5 is everything's perfect. So just that's like how I come to 2 months, okay. And then I was, let's say, in option, okay, I can say 2 months, everything's fine, we have 2 months work, and I can report every 2 weeks. Oh yeah, we do this, we do this. But it was, let's say, a case when my developers wasn't so experienced in that technology. I recognized them because after 1 year, I was able to recognize their velocity, what they do, what they can't, and then I arranged several meetings in order just to, let's say, find how they can learn about this technology. In one of these several meetings, one guy told us from this company, but we can do it in 2 weeks. The same, you will have the same value, different vehicle, but the same value in 2 weeks. Okay, I will give you 1 month, 4 weeks, of course, and just go back to the management and this loop. So we didn't start anything, just communication started, preparation, planning, and everything. And then I tell them, okay, we can fix it in 1 month with another team. And they, okay, we have to check security, everything else, what is necessary. And after that, we agreed to let's say, ship this task to another team, which do it in I think, 3 weeks, something like that, and everything was fine. So I think that's why Scrum can be very useful and powerful in the development, because it pushes you to communicate. You must communicate with your stakeholders and all these things. So, regarding planning in Scrum, I could say that it is very important event for a product owner in Scrum, because during this event I talk with my developers after several refinements just to see what we can do in each sprint. For this is very important to know velocity of your team, and later I will just show what velocity means. And after that, we start to go in the sprint. I report to my managers what we will do in this sprint, what we can expect after 2 weeks, what will be present on the sprint review. And velocity is a measure of amount of work, not mix it with capacity. Capacity is measured in hours, and the velocity is, let's say, in our case, story points, but you can measure in whatever you want. And regarding product tracking, just to shortly fly over these things, just you see in the page levels, I use the delivery plan in the 4 features, and progress is measured by number of user stories. From my experience, the best method, you can measure by story points or by task in hours, but I use user stories. And of course, at the end of sprint, there is a sprint review. What is here very important from our experience, these two, always we have 2 types of stakeholders in audience when we present. The presentation demo is done by developers. I can have just introduction. In this introduction, I explain why, how, what, of course. And then we split this presentation in 2 parts. First part is for business people, client-facing increments, and the second part is for technical people. And it was very great, and even very nice, let's say, feedbacks from the audience, because before that, we present, you don't know to whom. Some architects or some salespeople, marketing people, and now we know exactly which words, even developers, it's very more suitable in this role to present something to business people, to technical people. Very, very, I will recommend this very highly because it is very, very great success. And after that, we work very, let's say, perfect. I'm just satisfied with this work after 2 years. And I can say, last my slide, just to see this picture of dolphin and submarine, of course, is much suitable to be dolphin. It's not easy, frankly speaking. We need maybe almost 2 years when we start to implement Scrum. Of course, good thing is that all these 2 years you deliver something. You are not staying in that place, of course. But after 2 years, I just enjoy the work with my developers and Scrum team, and I see that they are more satisfied with their work. They like to write tasks, because at the beginning they don't like it, but now they like to write everything, to specify what they did, and communication is much better in both ways, from my point of from product owner to management and to the developers. So that's all for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing a lot of experience here. I love your velocity when you understood that you have 5 more minutes to go.
Thank you.
Shall I give a lady, and I'll get back to you. This is the track I know so far. I can do it.
Well, Dino, thank you for your great presentation. And I like definition for new product or product. So from my point of view, just to think out of box, vehicle for me is, for example, soup. Why you need soup? Consumer need soup to eat something warm, to satisfy his hunger, or what else. So that's it. I like it. It's a comment. The other thing, product owner, I think it's a great job, and it is. I understand it's a multidisciplinary job, because you need to have technical knowledge, marketing knowledge, finance knowledge. Am I right?
Okay, in perfect case, yes, but in reality, no, it's not possible actually, because we have a lot of discussions which people are better for the product owners. And of course, mainly they are business people. Usually it is the way they go to the product owner role. And practically speaking, it's not necessary that you know technical side to be good product owner. It's better to know business side than technical, but in either case, in my case, I see that I'm much more convenient, let's say, comfortable in this role. And sometimes I just advise them, okay, just leave me, I will do it. I know that you are not familiar with technical things, I will do it on my own. And they recognize it, and they like to work with me, because in reality, we work in the tribes. It is a group of Scrum teams when I cooperate with another Scrum owner, product owner on the US side. And usually they are connected more on the business side with end users. I am more connected to technical, and then it's perfect, let's say, catch, let's say so. But okay, in reality, it's very hard to know everything, of course. But by the time, I don't know, I think it's easier to learn something about business. From my experience, I can say I start as engineer, after that I learned about business things in my startup, let's say so, and now I can communicate. Because communication is thing, I think, is more important.
Yes, thank you, because until now I didn't know that something like that existed, you know?
Maybe you have this in your organization, but you call it another way. Maybe manager, I don't know.
Okay, thank you. Second question, please.
Hi, thanks for, there are a lot of hands-on good practices in those Scrum things. The first presentation did so much hands-on info, which is, I think, great. We see that. One thing I heard, and I would like to hear your explanation. You mentioned product owner, product manager relation. I think there is a lot of misunderstanding there, generally, because in my opinion, product owners' main focus is strategic, not operational. So, product in Scrum Guide, if we are talking about Scrum Guide, product owner is responsible for the product backlog, but the main part of product backlog is not Jira tickets, but the product vision or product goal from the 2022. So, can you explain a bit relation? What is product manager in your in your case, and what's product owner, and what is the relation?
Okay, from my understanding of Scrum guides, there is only product owner, not product manager. It is the first point, okay. In reality, of course, there are some product managers. In my case, I have some product managers, strategics, I don't know how they call them, because there is a, let's say, manager level, and we talk about, no, okay, they produce visions, product strategy, company strategy, everything what is related to the future, and then just put in front of me this roadmap in a few, let's say, quarters, and then I can take one by one, because I don't have the power to change it, except if I see, okay, at the moment we can't work on this feature, we can work on this one, so we can just slip or switch this one, because I don't have developers for this task. So for me, let's say product manager is something which will be in the future more product owner, because it is the future to be, if you want to be agile, of course, to be in connection, because product owner maybe is not necessary if you have a good product manager, which can explain everything to developers. I think people in this room already do this job, actually. Yeah, Anna do this job, just communicate the developers on some specific way, because maybe we should get some human approach. Okay, I have to, but I have some recommendations that I have to follow to some Scrum events and so on and so on. So in general, I think there is necessary for only one person between product manager and product owner. But in reality, some companies want to have such a structure.
Maybe the difference is between product companies and service or agencies, because in product companies, and by reading to the Scrum guide, product owner owns the product vision, so there cannot be some kind of more vision about
Services are, service companies are just incorporating the product company, because we are external consultants, but we are considered as an internal team. We are just working on all these events. We are just like US team, not creation team. So it is, I don't see difference in that sense. But of course, if you have service company, you don't have product, you don't need product manager, of course. You need product owner because maybe client, as in our case, we don't have product owner in the creation. Because product manager, sorry. Because US client ask us, okay, we want to have 5 developers, 1 product owner, and 1 product Scrum Master, 2 teams, and we will pay for them. Then they ask to us, product owner, just apply for the job, and that's how I find this job. But there is no product manager in our company.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Big applause for Dino. How did you listen to that product owner? And now, Sander, you just keep it running.
Okay, hi everybody. So 2 minutes of who I am. So I am an individual working in the IT industry for past 15 plus years. And in that career, I have worked in large enterprises, like telecom. I have worked in a startup. I have worked in a software company, software/agency company. And I have been the general manager of one software company as well. And I came back to the corporation. So my presentation is going to be a little bit through the eyes of the corporation part, because I can see a lot of corporations here. So we share the same struggles in that perspective, but also with some kind of a small, let's say, vision. How would it look like in the other companies that I work in, where we have a different focus on that one? I need to share you a little bit about Scrum so you can understand where I'm coming from, but I will need your help on this one. Okay? Can you please stand up? Please. Bear with me. It's 2 minutes. Okay. Not everybody has enough room, but like, extend your hands as much as you can. You don't need to touch each other. It's not something that we have or afraid or something like that. Just like, do that. Okay. Now, like, as quickly as possible, without any of the thinking, like, clap your hands like this. Okay? Go across the finger. Okay? Remember which finger is on the top. Okay? Like left hand or right hand. Then again, let's let's go back. Let's try it once more. Again, which finger is at top? Remember? Okay, we are good to go. You can sit back. So, if you remember which finger was for the first time on top and which finger was on the second time on the top, in the majority of the cases, it's the same finger, right? Because you were not thinking, you were acting from within yourself, and you were not thinking what would be your next step. The same goes what, I think it was Scott, which was mentioning it yesterday. Our biggest obstacle is the experience that we have, our habits, what we have learned before, and how we are going to be acting in the future again. Same finger on the top. It's the easiest, you don't need to think about it in that way. Why am I mentioning this at the beginning of the presentation? Transcom is a company who is old, I would say, 28 years. Imagine the experience that we have in 28 years. So imagine what kind of an effort it takes us actually to be able to make some changes with this huge experience. And I believe that a lot of companies which are already on the, I would say, enterprise level, you have a lot of user experience as well. So think about that one, and extremely important. I liked it better how Scott explained it, so I will save it for the next presentation in a way how he did it on that way. What else? Transcom is present on all the continents except Australia. So we have around 27, 28 sites in different cities all over the world. So it means diversity like all over the table. Different languages, different cultures, different way of working, different everything. For us, different is normal. There's nothing else that we can actually recognize on that topic. When we talk about languages, of course, so we support like 33 languages that we are giving support on. Who heard about Transcom at all? Except one of our clients here on the table. Wow, excellent. Usually it's a much lower amount of hands in Croatia when we talk about it. So we are the BPO company, BPO business process outsourcing company. Like in laic words, we are offering the services of a contact center. So customer experience is something that we do every day. We have around 30,000 employees all over the globe. So I would say the people are in the focus of our work. People who work and our customer, people who we serve on that perspective. Everything goes around the people in that perspective. Okay, out of these 30,000 employees, I think that maybe around 2,000 or less are working like me in the headquarters part, where we are trying to help out the 28 people to be able to work in their base. The easiest way how we can explain what is our industry is that everybody recognizes McDonald's, right? Why do you go to McDonald's? You're not going there just because of the Big Mac. You go there because you recognize the process. Everywhere in the world where you go to McDonald's, you have the same process. We were also discussing this about Starbucks yesterday, I believe. So we have the same process. Everywhere you have the same people who are smiling, who are super kind to you. Everything is the same. The same goes with Transcom. We are offering the services, but we also have Big Macs. So in comparison to the services that Transcom is offering, I will talk about our Big Macs today only. So not the full picture, but the Big Macs, because our Big Macs today are part of the IT part. So this is going to be the focus. Okay, I will try to make it in time, but I tend to talk a lot. I'm from Dalmatia. This is like built in me, so like wait with those numbers as soon as possible on that topic. Little bit about, we started from the IT. Dino was talking and we were chatting about it, also in this perception of what can happen between customer and end product. So you have this deaf phone, like look it up in French, I don't know, it sounds a little bit weird in English. So when you are translating what customer needs, then you cannot to the end developer or guy who needs to build that functionality or something like that, then you lost some of the information in between. So when the company started to think about it, okay, we want to start to be a product company, then we said, okay, let's not start from sales, marketing, IT, everywhere. Let's start immediately from the IT. Let's give the responsibility to IT to build up the product company. And we did one version, 2018. Of course, the only strategy is that transformation is the only constant. So we did another one in 2022. So let me try to describe a little bit about that one. Who were we in IT before 2018? So who knows ITIL, the framework? Like almost everybody who ever worked in IT company, in the enterprise company. It's a perfect framework if you need to, I would say, maximize in a traditional way, that you need to maximize the way how people work in IT, part of the environment. So you can have here, you can organize things by geographical. You have operations supporting American time zone, operations supporting Filipino time zone, supporting European time zone. You can have organization, let's take it by group of business analysts, group of architects, group of project managers, group of, I don't know, finance guys in IT, etc., etc. So these are the practices. Behind every practice, you have a good framework that you can actually implement, and that stuff works. But if you want to, let's take it like this. What is missing here? In all these types of organization, what is missing? So, exactly, where are the people? Nobody mentioning the people. Everything goes around the people. There are no people in that kind of a framework. We talk about functionalities, we talk about processes, we talk about everything but the people. You will hear me a lot of time mentioning people here. Okay, almost the same picture like Carl said. He just had a little bit more color on his slide. This is the organization how it looked like before, and it's boring in that perspective. But it was working. It was actually working until we made the decision we want to move to the product company. Okay, what we need to do about that one? We mentioned this again these 2 days. Everybody knows about Spotify model. So every time when somebody wants to go agile, every time somebody wants to go talk about the products, then your entire board, we were also mentioning them, they come to you, oh, it could be an Apple. Like, you know, they love themselves, they create products, it's amazing, it's innovation. Or you can be Spotify, they even put out the model, etc. In my experience, I have never seen a company who successfully implemented the entire model on their entire company. Maybe because I haven't been working in the companies with Carl, helping about it, to go through this whole process. But in reality, we end up in that way that we, again, Carl said it, I think, put an agile lipstick on a waterfall face. So you never do implement that in that way. We did the same on that perspective. So we wanted to say, we want to create products, we want to be agile, and let's do all in. Like babies in the kindergarten. You cannot go all in. It's impossible to change it in a company, again, with so many years of experience, which is being an obstacle at some point of the time. So what we did? First we said, okay, let's create the product houses. What are product houses? It's what we call them like that. What are our product houses are going to be about? Of course, we heard it these 2 days. It's going to be about business value, because the business value is something which is the most important part that you can actually deliver. So we said, okay, let's create product house. First, the business value are the products, as I'm saying again. I talk only about the big max, not the entire McDonald's process. So one product are contact center services, let's call it like that. What is that? That is a telephony system when somebody's calling you. That is a chat system when somebody's chatting you. So everything related to that one. Then we said, okay, what else? Oh, there's an automation, which is something new in the world. Okay, remember it was 2018. Okay, let's create some automation product house. Like you, Jakob, my colleague, he said, like, create some kind of products around automation. You're a smart guy, you can do it. Then we said, okay, BI. BI is an extremely important part of our company. I'm working in the being responsible for the BI. Why? Because our company, every day, we have more than 2 million interactions. So in this amount of interactions, you don't make any decision without looking at the data. No decisions are being made. Even when you transfer a shift from one team lead to another team lead, you need to look at the data and transfer the shift to say, okay, I'm bad at this, I'm good at this one, please fix it for me later on. So this is important. Then somebody said, my colleague was working before I did, and they said, okay, Cheryl, work something around BI, create some of the products. And then we also said a couple of others, so I will not take that long time. So we took a business value and created products around this business value. And COVID came. We did nothing that year. In that year, we just survived. So no major changes, adapt to the situation. Then it was, I would say, in this terms of transformation, a little bit of a pause. So we just like, okay, whatever we did, let's just practice on that one. Why? When I'm saying let's just practice on that one, because we needed to learn how to do the products. Because we are IT guys. We know how to do functionalities. We know how to do network. We know how to do laptops, hardware. We don't know how to do products. So it was a year of us actually trying to introduce ourselves into the products as such on that perspective. Then we said, okay, if we're going to be doing that one, let's try to reorganize the IT from the geographical perspective. So we have opened IT Hub in Zagreb, and we moved a lot of our, I would say, let's call them headcounts, even though I do not like that impression about the people and that kind of a label. But we moved a lot of operational activities and the development teams from Philippines, which were our only tech hub. So we said, let's try to follow the time zone, follow the sun, and create European tech hub here in Zagreb. And then we started to employ a lot of people, like all of you know, specifically, I think that Anna you were mentioning. So when you start to grow significantly, then it's becoming a problem. You need to like start talking about yourself because you have a lot of activities that you need to fulfill in there. Then again, if you talk about yourself, what you do to the customer, we heard it yesterday. So this was the year that we did it on. Here we will go. TV. We'll go in 1 minute. Okay. Then what else that we wanted to say then? Then we said, okay, now after we learned all of that, and we do the organization, we handled everything. And then on the other hand, we said, okay, but we don't know anything about the commercials. We're talking about here about product managers, product owners. We have all those roles, the product managers, the product owners, all those roles. But if you come to each and every product manager within our organization and say, okay, like, what do you know about business cases? What do you know about the value and the finance behind the value of that one? We did not know that. We only knew about the cost because we were part of the IT. This is what you ask IT, what is going to be the cost of that one? Okay. And then, Jen, I need to go like this one. Okay, so we learned people how to do the commercial part, and we said, we've done it. We are right now in the ideal world, like F Spotify, we are even better. Everything works perfectly. Yeah, right. So, in this slide, I tried to find in our transfer, like PR gallery, I tried to find a picture who would explain this slide for everybody else. And I couldn't find. Why? Because in PR you have only positive pictures. There are no pictures when somebody is falling down. It was like, okay, where would I create a picture? Then I used Ali. You were mentioning also Anna yesterday, like, let's try to do Mid-Journey or something. I said, picture me a businessman who is falling down into a mousetrap. Because right now, when we look through these eyes, that area, that period of time, it was a mousetrap known to everybody but us. Because it was the first time the experience that we had. For us, we could not see all those mousetraps, but it's pretty much easy. I know a couple of companies here in Croatia today, and I worked in one of those, which are organized by some kind of marketing areas about the products where you put, when it goes one step further, when you say not only that you have responsibility over this product, but you also have a P&L on this product. You have the full responsibility. What is happening then? Then when you go outside of the market, then you start fighting about the clients. Two small departments within one company start to fight for the same client because they have, of course, P&L responsibility. Everybody's fighting for their P part as well. And it's coming naturally on that part. So this same thing happened to us. Why? Because the technology is changing all the time. And the original idea that we put on the table, how to distinguish the product houses, has changed during the period of time. Because I think, who was mentioning this one? I think that Peresha was mentioning on the IFOBIT. So when you take the first product, you create the baseline of that product. But then you see that the competition is doing something on top. Then you add some kind of value on top of it. Then you add another functionality on top, other functionality on top. And when you do the organization with these two topics, like the baseline, during the time, these kind of functionalities start to overlap. And then we ended up, when our sales team goes outside on the field and they sell something, they say to our guys, which kind of product should we use for this, what we sold? And then internal fight actually started. Like, yeah, this product is better, this product is better. And you can see it quite often in the software development companies, the same I would say, struggles on that one. When you have this company within the company, one thing that we did, again, based on our experience, and again, based on what also Carlos said, when he said on the management level, or in the experience level, if you have 2 individuals out of 1,000 who are not following this same process, the process is failing. We wanted to avoid that one. This is the one thing that we recognize as a possible mistake in the past. And then we said, okay, let's not do the virtual one like Spotify has. Let's do the proper hardcore organization, because us in the enterprise know only how to behave when you have hard hierarchical organization. When we created the product houses, we did not have the virtual teams. So we actually had 5 developers in one product house, 5 developers in another product house, 5 developers in the third, etc., etc., etc. What happened again during the time? At the beginning, everything was marvelous, as I said, the heart, ideal world. Why? Because at the beginning, you had the same people who were working previously in the previous type of the organization, and this some kind of a natural network of communication remained. But as every IT department or company, then you come to the situation where you are actually experiencing that somebody, individual is leaving the company, somebody new is coming, so attrition is getting higher and higher, very competitive labor market, and then you come to the situation that you have a lot of new guys who don't have this natural network of communication. It was lost because they did not know those guys before, but they work in their product. They have full autonomy. So we gave them everything, the full autonomy. You have everything that you can decide how you're going to be doing with your product. You do it everything like you want to do. But then, after a couple of years of that part, we discovered that let's talk only about the software development part, because it's just only one part of our products. We came up to the situation that we have a couple of developers, group of developers, which are doing right now on a totally different language. So somebody is developing something in PHP, somebody is developing in, I don't know, Node, somebody is developing in whatever, C#. Let's pick one. And we said, oh my God, but how are we going to do tomorrow the next level of the software development? It's going to be super hard. So we fall into that trap. And again, Kresha mentioned this one. You cannot have the full autonomy. Self-autonomous teams, it doesn't actually work. It does work probably, if I would imagine that perception, in my smaller companies where I work, or in a startup, there everything works from that perspective. Because you are there together all the time, every day. And then we said, okay, now is the time for the next level. What can we do? And we pick up the SWAT team, let's see together. This is a picture from one of our team buildings. Let's go back to the core. What are the core values of Transcom? These are on the presentation. What are our core values? And then let's start from that one. Let's use everybody knows the McKinsey famous model, situation, complication, resolution. So we said, okay, let's use this one. I have shown you here pretty, I would say, pretty small version out of it. It was much bigger on that one. So we say, okay, we have overlapping products. It is making us our life difficult. We have product organization, which we still believe. Let's keep the product organization as we want to sell it. What is our complication today? Also, complication is sometimes we have externally developed products, sometimes we have internally developed products. It is complication for everybody here. Technology is rapidly changing, so let's not think about it like we did last time, that we organize our teams by the products specifically, or by the solutions, or by the technology, but this is going to change in the very near future, probably. AI is already here. Rachel said it's a flood. It's not anywhere, so right now it's tsunami. It's not really a flood part on that one. And the one topic that we were not talking about today is who are our future IT colleagues. Because here, majority of us, are part of the millennial or before millennial generation. In 5 years, the majority are going to be Generation Z. These are our future colleagues. We cannot be in a situation that me, as if I'm like part of the older millennial groups, that I as a millennial create something that is fitting for me. Like, I will not work for another 15 years or something like that in this kind of same organization. Let's think about that part as well. So, how are we going to be organizing the product teams in order to fit for the longer future than we did before? Then we go back to the core of our company. What kind of a company we are? We are a people company. So we were sitting here again, entire 2 days, and all the time when we talk about the products, we talk about product value, business value, functionality value. Customer is like customer journey, you need to hear from the customer, but how to change the culture and the mindset that you think about customer first, even if your personality is actually scientific. So you know when you do the personality test, and the majority of young people have scientific on the personality test very high, but when you have a scientific very high, it's pretty usual and often that you have aesthetics low. When you have aesthetics low, then it means you don't look at the things through the customer eyes. You look at the things through the functionality and the perspective of the functionality. This is our washing machine model. This is how we call it. So we said, let's make an organization out of people in our focus and their experiences. So right now, we have product houses which are not based on the products. We have product house which is focused on customer experience. Every product in the company which is actually working something on the customer experience, you have one team which is handling that one. The product managers, the product owners, they are focusing on that one. We have agent experience. My colleague Dino is part of the agent experience. He's taking care of the product of the virtual agents, the automation part that I was talking about before. We have employee experience. Every year, we hire and fire almost 20,000 people. So this whole process is extremely important to us, the way how individual and employee can develop their career in Transcom. We want everybody to stay as long as possible within the Transcom. Client as well. So what kind of a value, again, let's go back to the value, can we give to the client? But let's think about the client, not the thing that we want to sell. The value is just a consequence of our behavior. It's not the first goal, it's the result of our behavior. Around everything, like this kind of a box, there are some part of the IPs where you can actually keep them only to be waterfall, to be ITIL. You don't need to change everything. We tried, we failed, it doesn't work, it doesn't make sense. Network, core infrastructure, hardware, site enablement. You cannot do that in an agile way. I mean, Ersten knows how we did. You need to be very waterfall. You know when the campaign needs to start. You need to know when you need to enable the site, what you need to enable the site. Very fixed scope, go to the waterfall model. There's no meaning of how to change it. The rest of the guys, you need to start working agile. The middle, the drum of the washing machine, this is my drum. It's AI insight data software development. one thing that we said, okay, maybe we are not mature enough right now that we distinguish all the developers to go into different product houses. We need to bring them back together and start working on organizing the same technologies, same processes, same CI/CD processes, same infrastructure. So let's do that, and then in a couple of years or a couple of months, when we align back again, let's go back into that perspective. I cannot see this talking to me. Very briefly about Gen Z. They don't have interest in how the organization and hierarchy looks like. It really is not something which is important to them. They don't have interest into hard processes. They have interest in this communication network that we were talking about. They will find some individual somewhere with whom they want to work in a big organization. They want to be part of the community. Their entire private, personal life is about the communities. Social communities, environmental communities, everything is about the community. What is community? This is from one journalist from Forbes. What is a community in one big company? Collective energy, people feel safe. It's a volunteer, you can be part of the community. It's not that somebody says you need to go to that community. It's a volunteering part. And the company is supporting that one. Then we said, okay, how to try to avoid the mousetrap that we had last time. And then we said, let's try to create communities. Enterprise architecture community of all the architects from all the product houses. Product owners, let's create a community of product owners where they're going to be able to share the best practices, the vision. Somebody is more better how to talk to the client, to the customer, to get them inside. Somebody is like closer to the developers. But all of these skill sets are equally important. So let's give them the opportunity to learn from each other on that one. AI community is something that we are building right now. And we see it, business analyst community and data ambassadorship community, as something that we need to continue to work on that one. Whoever worked in a product process with a designer, whoever worked as a designer, this is the most famous picture as a designer, which says, people ignore designs that ignores people. Somebody saw this, a very good design, and you said to me, like, you can find these pictures in Google wherever you want, because this is a shortcut. This is what people actually want. The same for me goes for the products. People ignore products that ignores people. You need to put people in your sentences, in your daily operation. What has significantly changed for us previously on our daily meetings or any kind of meetings when we started to talk about, we always talked about, go to the contact center services, they will tell you how to do it. Go to that part, they will tell you how to do it. And we just lost the individuals, the people in our daily conversations. Now, they said, go to the agent experience product house, go to the people experience product house. This is how you influence subconsciously on the people that they try to think about people experience. Because you just say it 5 times a day. Experience, people, agent, employee. This is how you change the culture part of that one. Last slide, almost lunchtime. Only 3 things that I would like you to have a takeaway from this one. If you think about strategy, about the products, about the organization, one thing which will never be out of fashion is people. Whatever changes in the technology, in the market, or whatever, it can always fit with a strategy which involves people. One topic. Other topic, Generation Z is our next generation of employees. Generation Z is about the communities. Think about community. Communities don't think about hardcore structures and organization. And the third part, we are probably not done with this one. If we see each other next year, I will probably tell you, oh, what we fucked up last year. So we needed to change this one. Embrace the transformation as a regular part of your daily activities. This is the only constant in that part. Thank you.
You said we are almost at the lunch.
Yeah.
We are exactly at the lunch.
Exactly.
And we're going to skip the questions. All your questions can be done at the lunch because we are and you are from Dalmatia. So, what did Dino say that lunch is a product because it delivers stuffed belly. Exactly. So have a great lunch. Let it deliver belly to you, and we will see each other in exactly 60 minutes and 45.